Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers and the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. This is video 1 in our series, A Journal for a Gentleman, and we're going to be using a kit which is a collaboration between Tanya at Tatty Treasure Shop and Nanine at CollageType, and of course their links to both shops will be below. There are 4 parts in total. There's the 2 main kits, one at each shop, and then there's 2 ephemera plus a couple extra pages kits, in one in each shop. Okay, so I got all 4, and it's a total of 60 something pages, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I'm not sure, of course, what we're going to make because a lot of the pages are oriented to vertical, so portrait. So I'm not really sure. You can see these are half and half. I'm not really sure if I'm going to go ahead and turn them sideways and cut them off and do it that way, because I don't have a problem with text being sideways. Or if we're just going to, I don't want to make a skinny journal. I just got through making one of those, and you really don't have a lot of room to work when your journal's only 4 1/4 inches wide. So, all right, let's take a look at this. These are the pages that come. I haven't trimmed any, but I have printed on the back, and this file that I printed on the back is a file that I had from a kit that I got that was all coffee dyed backing papers to match the sepia in the kit. These colors here, I looked for one that was close and used that. The backing papers in the kit are dark. So because I use the backing papers as the backs of writing cards, then that wouldn't work for me in particular. It may work for you, and you may not have coffee dyed pages to work with. You can always back your papers with coffee dyed paper as well. I'm just going to say right now, the project that we're going to do is going to be a little bit larger, I think. So that's going to be an awful lot of coffee dyed paper. If you're like some of my friends and make stacks of it at a time, you'll be fine. So we've got these, some of them are William Morris type patterns. And this one, the birds go this way. So I'm not sure really which way this page is supposed to go. When you look at the image on the computer, it's like this. Okay, so then we've got this one. I love these black and white pages. They are so cool. This looks to be upside down. Okay, and then we have this one, which is landscape. This collage, which I really like also, is landscape. This one is portrait. You see what I mean about deciding? This one's portrait. This one can be either. Even though when you cut it in half this way, well, you would end up with all these on one side and this on the other. So I think you'd be all right if you did that. This one is set to writing on one side and decoration on the other. It could easily be cut to 8 1/2. You know what I mean? And still be fine. The same with this one. So I don't think these are going to be a problem no matter what we decide to do. Let me try to go a little quicker. You will see in just a minute, because we're going to talk about it. I really like this page as well. This is the same as one of the backing papers, and this is, I think, the same as part of one of the collages, because this goes this way and this part goes this way. And of course you have your gentleman. Now the kit is called Gentle-Men or Man and Men, and I just put it the way that we do it in the U.S., which is gentlemen. or actually I use gentleman. Okay, so these are your basic pages that come in the kit. Now, this is where I started printing duplicates before I realized that there are duplicates. So let's talk about that for a second. There are, in Tanya's kit, part of the kit, there are 2 or 3 zip files, and then the rest are PDFs. So if you aren't like me, I have an old version of Adobe Acrobat that is the full version, and I got it in like 2006. So I don't have to pay monthly for it, first of all. And second of all, I can open a file and extract all the images and then have a folder full of the JPEGs. Okay, so I can look at all the images without having to open the PDFs and scroll through them. So you can see the advantage to that. Now, you may not have the ability to do that. So I'm going to tell you right now that the files in one of the zip folders with the MM dash whatever the rest of the name of the file is are duplicates. So you're just going to have to keep that in mind because, see, I printed this one, which I'm definitely going to use them. It's not like I'm not. I would have printed this page out more than once anyway. But if you are needing to conserve on ink, this is a very black ink intensive page, or paper, then you may not want to print out 90 pages instead of 68 or whatever the regular kit is. Okay, so you see these are duplicates, and that was when I realized something was going on. Also, the same as some of the image files are the same. Some of the ephemera files are the same. So you're going to have to look through there and see, and I think it is all the MM files, MM dash something or other, that aren't labeled GM, you know, like gentlemen. And I'm sure it was just an oversight when the files were being put together in the downloadable files for the Etsy shop. So you've got lots of images of men, and I would look through them and pick out your favorites. Otherwise, you're going to have so many, there's no way you're going to be able to use them all. So I would pick out your favorites. I printed a bunch before I realized exactly how many there were. So I really like the gentleman on this page. That guy's got that crazy hairdo. Come on. Oh, that is only one page. So you can see, and I didn't even print them all out. But you definitely want to print the smaller ones out. Oh, he's handsome. And some of the larger ones out as well. The same with the frames. There are some duplicate frame pages, so you want to keep an eye out for that. This is one of them. So these are frames. If you want to use them, you're going to have to cut the centers out. And I think we'll get to the files that I need to talk to you about fussy cutting and scan and cut. Okay. Now, if you're using a scan and cut, you do not want this text here. So, because it will try to cut out every single letter. If you trim it off, which you most certainly can do, if your paper or your mat is still super sticky, then you're all well and good. If yours is like mine and you have to use masking tape to hold the papers down on the mat, then you're not going to have enough room to put the masking tape if you trim this off underneath the words. So here's a workaround. You just take a Sharpie, a wedge Sharpie, and you just draw a line through the text that you do not want the scan and cut to accidentally do. And I'm not going to do this on top of other papers because Sharpies tend to go through. Let me get... Oh, and we're going to be using black cardstock for this. Okay, so you're just going to take this and draw a line straight through it, and all your scan and cut will do is cut out 2 black rectangles, and then you can just throw those away. Okay? So that's how you work with that. And I haven't printed on the backs of any of these yet either. Okay, these files here are nice. These are going to fold into 2 little wallets. You can do them vertically. You can do them horizontally. You can cut all 4 of them apart and use them however you want. And put this right here because we're going to need it in a minute. Okay, and then these are going to be the writing pages for inside. So I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a notebook or a wallet out of it because these are great cover images. I really like them a lot. I may not use this one. Well, we have some circle images or images that we can make fit in there, but I'll probably use this one. I'm not very good at cutting things out like the frames and such. Now, the rest of this, there's a ton of ephemera. Okay, and there's all different kinds. There's fussy cuts, there's frames, there's some fussy cuts. So let me show you, there's some envelopes, and it's the same thing. If you already know how to make a coin envelope, then you don't need these little letters and numbers. So you're going to take your black Sharpie and you're going to draw a line right across, and don't obviously draw on your paper. So you might want to take a smaller one than this. Now you also have the directions. So you're going to want to take your Sharpie, and you don't have to fill the whole thing in this case. All you have to do is draw a line around it. Oops, I'm not very good at this. So you got to be careful. It's really close, because this is going to cut out with that. I should have gone through the text right there. And then go straight across with that. Okay, and then it will cut this out because this is a border. Except I messed up right there, and I'll just have to trim that little piece out by hand. Okay, so you're going to have to do all of this hand editing. Now, if if you're going to use a scan and cut or Cricut or something like that to cut your images out. Now, if you are doing actual fussy cutting and you have your directions, once you cut these out, you don't have your directions anymore. Okay? So what you're going to have to do is fussy cut these out, and then you'll have this, because you're going to cut these out, etc., is you're going to have to paper clip this to these, so you know, if you don't know how to make them, so that you know what to do. Okay? These are just tips. These are not something you absolutely have to do, but they're just tips that I've learned through making items that have directions, because sometimes even though it's just a file folder, or something, then the directions still need to be followed because they've done it in a custom manner. Well, hi Oz. Oz is in here visiting. Now this ephemera is a tag and a smaller version of the collage page. So that's nice. You can use it as stationery. You could print this page out and then also print it out on some coffee dyed paper, and that would make this stationery. You can leave them together and make a novel trifold or something like that, which we may do with one of them. I may reprint one. Reprint. I've got all this, and I'm talking about reprinting one. Same with this one. This is another large pocket that's just got flaps, so you probably don't need those directions. And mark through that. But I love having all the little circles. Here's more pockets. They're made the same way as this pocket. You fold the edges under and then glue. This is a large envelope and it goes this way. So these are folded under. This is the back side of this and this is the flap. These are little file folders. You can see this is rounded here and this is rounded out there. So you're going to want to cut them apart and make little file folders. You can make pockets with them. You can do all kinds of things. We'll probably make little file folders. This is a large, this is a set of the file folders too. You can see right there in the pattern where it folds in half. Okay, so I think the rest of it is pretty standard. I'm glad I don't have to cut these out by hand. I am going to have to draw around these because the light color, the scan and cut won't cut. So, yeah. But the rest of these all have nice dark around them. These fussy cuts are nice. Here's some like back labels that you can put stuff on. Here's some words. These will have to be cut out by hand. Letters, like a typewriter letters. Some watches. A frame and some ovals and circles. These are kind of interesting, these little tags. They can be used as closures, tickets, and more fussy cuts. Okay, so that's a kind of a quick overview. I needed to give you some tips. That's why this is a little bit longer than me flipping through super quick. Like I said, I'm not sure what we're going to do. We may do a trifold. I know that Tanya did a lap book for January, but she made hers out of a book cover and large 9 by 12 mailing envelopes and big invitation envelopes and things like that. And ours will be nothing like that. And it's not going to be a lap book. It's just going to be a trifold, I think. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure of the dimensions. So I'm off to trim the edges of these papers and cut all this ephemera out. I'm going to go through, and I probably won't cut all the frames out that I printed because I won't need them all. There's a lot of images and a lot of frames. I'm going to try to use as many as possible. Okay? All right, that's it for this section. And then we'll go on to the next section after I get everything done. And we will get started. We'll either be making the, I was going to say the frame, the cover, which would be a frame, if we're going to do a trifold. If not, we're going to go into pages. If we're just going to do a book. Okay? All right, I'll see you in just 1 second. Okay, now in the second part of this video, we're going to use our time in making the cover. I've decided to go ahead and make a trifold. Now, you're going to need eyelets if you're going to put a journal in, eyelets and elastic cord. This is only 1 millimeter, and I've discovered 1.5 millimeter is much better, but I've only got the 1 millimeter in black. Okay, let me move that out of the way. Then if you're going to do like I do and draw a 1-inch line, then you're going to need a chalk pencil if you're making a black cover, because you can't see a regular pencil on there, and we're going to fold it up so it won't matter. I've made a spacer to go in between the sections, and it's 3 pieces of chipboard. It doesn't matter if they're all the same length because you're just going to use the width. That's why this one doesn't matter. Then you're going to need 5 pieces of cardboard, chipboard, whatever. I've glued 2 pieces together of cereal board. Now this one is thicker than this one, so I'm not real sure if maybe I shouldn't have done 3 on this one, but we're going to go with this. So you're going to need one piece that's 8 1/4 by 2, one piece that's 8 1/4 by 3. This might be too big. I think, let me put you on hold. I think we're just going to go with 2.5. Okay, hold on just one second. Okay, so we're going to have an 8 1/4 by 2.5, 8 1/4 by 2. Then you're going to need 3 pieces that are 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. So you got 1, 2, 3. Now remember, these are all 2 pieces of cardboard glued together or 1 piece of lightweight chipboard. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, you're going to need 4 pieces of black cardstock or paper. Okay, let's set these out of the way real quick. Set this out of the way real quick. It's funny that this will cut through 2 layers of cardboard and my big fancy rotary cutter will not. So just a tip. So we're going to set our pencil to the side too. We're going to glue these together like this, and we're going to overlap by just a little bit. Otherwise, of course, we won't be sticking them together. So this uses a lot of glue to make a cover, just so you know. Oh, shoot. I don't want to do it that far over. And just make sure that they're even all the way up and down. So you want it straight across. I'm going to do the next one. Covers are easy to make once you've made, I would say, 2. Sometimes 1. Depends on how you're going to do it. Funny enough, when you do material, you do it the same way except for you don't have the seams. Well, you might, but usually you have one big piece instead of the 4 black pieces of paper. I have that song "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" stuck in my head. It is now January 11th. I have no idea why. Maybe because I took my Christmas tree down. I usually take it down before now, but I've been waiting on a bag to put my tree in from Amazon, and I finally got it yesterday. I guess everybody's ordering them. But I got it for $13, so can't really complain. Got a little carried away with that one. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Everything's going to be covered on the, this is going to be on the inside facing the cardboard anyway, so I don't know why I erased that. Okay, now I personally draw a line 1 inch in. Now this is going to be taller than we need, so you don't have to do 1 inch across the top. But I do 1 inch in and 1 inch up. So it helps keep everything lined up when you're gluing it on. I have glue everywhere. Now, I'm not going to show you every single side. I'm going to show you one side, put you on hold, and then do the other 3 sides off camera to save us a little bit of time. Okay, and we're going to do 1 inch up. And we're going to do the long sides first and then the short sides. And you do the short sides exactly the same way as you do the long side, even though it folds over. You won't have to do anything different. And this will be longer too than what we need. And this will erase as well. This is the chalk pencil. I guess that washi doesn't want to stick on that foam. I use this because I need the extra grip. And like I said, you don't have to do this. Totally optional. But I find it easier than trying to hold my... You can also just hold your ruler across the bottom. Then I numbered my pieces in the order that they're going to go on. So let's get number 1. There's my spacer. And that's this one. They're 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so you want to do the skinniest spine first as well. So we're going to put this on. And I do this on the corners so I can slide it around to get it lined up. And I just stuck my finger in there. And remember, the edges are paper going to be folded over onto this. I do just a little bit in the center. I started doing that on covers. You don't want the paper to kind of come up a little bit in the center. Okay, so we're going to put this piece here. Normally, in a regular book, you're only going to have 2 of these and 1 of these. And you see how we've got the extra up there. Not that much, though. It's 8 1/4. Now we're going to glue this one, and this one it's important to get all of it. And in this particular book, I'm going to try to not have any seams on the spines, especially the what did I go with? 2 1/2 inch spine. Because we're going to put eyelets in that for a journal. We're not going to make a journal in this video, but we're going to have the space there if you want to put one in. We're going to put this here and then line this up on the 1-inch line. Okay. And that gives you enough room to close it, but not so much room that it's wobbly. This is going to have some weight on it. And we're going to do 3. And Fabri-Tac is what I'm using, and it gives you a little bit of time before it dries. That's why I don't use art glitter glue. Some people use double-sided tape plus wet glue. I don't know. I've never done that before. So that's going to be up to you, whichever method you want to use. But people that use the double-sided tape usually use a thinner one on the edge and then great big ones in the middle to save on tape. It'll be just as much tape on there, but I almost got it, didn't I? By eyeballing it. And I'm pushing down on it. I want to make sure that it sticks. We're going to need some more black paper for when we do the insides as well. Probably should have done this one the other way around, so it had this little area on here. I don't think it'll make any difference. Okay, now we're on our last piece. Hi, Oz. My dog Oz is in here saying hello. In other words, he's walking around under my feet. He's looking for little pieces of paper. My dog eats paper, so I have to be careful and make sure the floor's clean. Well, as clean as it's going to get. I have really old carpet. And I mean really old. I've lived in this apartment 13 years. And it's flooded twice. 3 times. 3 times. My water heater broke once. The neighbor upstairs' water heater broke Christmas Day about 4 years ago at 9 o'clock at night. The neighbors were not home. So the hot water kept coming down because every time the water heater emptied, right, it filled up again, thinking that everybody needed more hot water. So that was not very convenient. Yeah, I got it that time. Not that much too long. Now we're done with our spacer. I just flipped it over because it's easier to draw on it. I'm going to make an inch up. Bottom of this is a little scruffy. I'm going to be cutting it off, so I'm going to draw all the way over. I'm not very good at cutting on a straight line. It'll be covered, but you want to kind of try to do your best. Especially on something this long. You could leave it. It's only a 1/2 inch, but okay, you're not going to be able to see this. I have to turn it so it's off camera to cut it. But I got my handy dandy Fiskars scissors out. And off I go to the races on this long bottom edge. Not doing very well at this at the very end here. Let's see if I can clean this up a little bit. Now I need to cut this end off. After I throw this big long piece of paper away. One day I dropped a big piece of paper, a long piece of paper, and I just happened to look up and see I was walking away. And he was dragging the long piece of paper to the living room. I was like, give it to me. And he did drop it. I was surprised. Usually he'll run away with whatever it is and try to keep it. Okay. So now we're going to trim the corners so that we don't have all that bulk from this paper right here when we go to fold it over. So you're going to go in at an angle, and then right about 1 millimeter before the end, you're going to curve it and go out at an angle. We're going to put corner protectors on this, so if you get a little too close, it won't be bad, but as a general rule, you don't want to really get as close as I did right there. Off camera again, but doing the same thing. It's just so long, it's hard for me to cut it at the angle that is easy for me to do with scissors because I'm right-handed, you know what I mean? Okay, now all we do is glue. Looks like we're going to have to do the insides probably in the next video real quick. Alright, you want to kind of give it the idea of what you're going to want it to do. Make sure you support where your seams are, which I just popped that one. You just want it to know, hey, we're going to bend you. You know what I mean? And these long ones are kind of tricky. You have to put the glue all the way down from one end to the other when you start. You can't do half and half, even though that would be nice. You're going to want to put glue at the seam where your cover meets your paper. I always do a little bit down in right there. You don't want to go in too far. You'll hit that later, I promise. And that's why this takes a lot of glue for a cover like this. So you want to start out with a full glue bottle or you're going to be sorry. You definitely don't want to have to stop in the middle and fill up your glue bottle. You want to get a fair amount of glue on here too. Because you definitely need this to hold when you flip it over. And it is a little bit tricky with these long ones. Okay, and you don't want to use a glue that's going to dry really fast. Otherwise, one end is going to be dry before you get done. You're going to want to flip it up. And then flip it, slide it over, flip it over. You want to make sure it all sticks down, which it isn't going to want to do on the first go. You want to flip it over and make sure it sticks down. And you see where we cut the corner. With Fabri-Tac, you can hear it crackle if it isn't dry. Once again, be careful where your paper seams are. You hear that? Almost thinking I didn't get it folded tight enough right there. That was that end that was sticking out that you couldn't see that when I was folding it off camera. And it's a real bear. Okay. So we get that all glued down. Now you're going to do the other long side next, and then you're going to do both ends. I'm going to put you on hold while I do that. Okay, now you want to take your bone folder and you want a rounded one. Not really one of these, even though they're awesome. And you just want to kind of lay it down and rub. Try not to use the point. You don't want to tear the paper. But you want to make that crease, you know, right here where you're going to fold it. And I usually do it sooner than I'm doing it now. I almost forgot. Because that glue under there has dried already. This is a little wider than the bone folder. That's why I'm having crazy bone folder movement. And you definitely don't want to push down on this end and tear through your cover to the front, because it would be a real bummer to have to make this cover all over again. Okay, so now we're done with this side. Make sure it's pretty clean. You're only going to see the edges, but still. Then when you make these, you're going to want to make sure that right here, and I did get lucky and all four corners came out to points. You don't want to have a lot of glue showing here, so make sure to use your glue eraser. If you do, this is a glue eraser, and they're kind of bumpy and kind of funky looking, and they're about $3 on Amazon. Just type in their glue eraser. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, well, we might have time to do some of it anyway. You want a piece of paper 8 inches high, because you want that little gap at the top and the bottom. And then on this one that's 2 inches wide, you need a 6-inch wide piece of paper. Which is, of course, that funny spot on all pieces of paper. That's really wide. Let's use the 6-inch wide one on the 3-inch. or 2.5-inch spine. And we'll do this one at whatever this is. Yeah, and we're just going to cover them. Now on this, you're going to want to put glue down in here. You don't need to put it here. Well, you do a little bit, but not very far. Don't go all the way to the edge. And you're going to want to generously put glue down in here. You don't want it to dry while you're working on the piece of paper. Well, you don't actually have to put glue up here because the paper's going to cover, and the glue on the paper will take care of everything. Okay. And you want to glue in here very, very well. Okay. You don't want the paper on the inside to buckle or bulge out when you close it. And I can tell you from experience that if you don't have enough glue in here, then you're going to have a problem. Okay, now you're going to want to take your piece of paper. Move my giant paper trimmer out of the way. Why did I flip that over? I have no idea. Oh, looks like that corner, the glue is still, and I have to erase a little bit right there. Okay, and you're going to want to put glue on here, all over. Try not to drag your charm from your bracelet through the glue. I'm glad this one doesn't clank, so that way I can wear it while I'm doing the videos and I don't have to remember to take it off. I just got it too. I got it from Timu. It's not part of my reviews because it's a personal item. Do you know what I mean? And I bought it. And I only show the craft items even in my personal hauls. You know, that don't have the special store links and stuff. Okay, I'm going to put glue, especially in the center. Wonder how much of this I dragged through the glue over here. None. I got very lucky because I wasn't paying attention. Phew, I had a pretty good whiff of Fabri-Tac now. Then we're just going to do the other one exactly the same. You're going to want to leave that little gap at the top and the bottom and get it as straight as you can, which preferably is straight. See, and I've got glue on there. I did get some in there. I'll have to use the glue eraser on it. Okay, get it all glued down with an emphasis on gluing the center. Try not to have so much glue that it oozes out, just like right there. It's okay if it oozes out the side in the middle. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing again with our bone folder. Go along that area. That's why we put glue down in there. You should be able to see where it is from where you did it the first time. And even though the other one is bigger, you know, wider, that other spine, it's done exactly the same way. Okay. So that's going to be it for this video. And I'll finish this other piece just like I did this piece. I'm really going to have to clean this up. Okay. And then I will see you in video 2, and we'll cover these, and then we'll start on page 1. Okay? All right, well, I will see you then. And, yep, that'll be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.